Hall. Roy's a former professional football player, Ohio State football player, and he's doing great work these days with his Driven Foundation, and he's got a leadership summit coming up that you'll want to be a part of. So with that, Dr. B, let's welcome Roy to the program.
Roy, thanks for coming on, buddy.
I'm excited, man. Come on now. Get to be close up and close and personal. Let's go.
I love it. We got some really awesome concepts we're gonna talk about today, but before we do that, I want you guys to go give Roy some love. Instagram, Roy _ Hall, Facebook, Roy Hall Jr., Twitter @Roy _ Hall, and then he's got RoyHallJr.com or the Driven Foundation @gmail.com if you have any questions, you guys want him to come to the school, or he does some really awesome stuff in the community. Also, I'm really excited about the Leadership Conference on May 17th, 8:30 to 4:30. You asked me to be a part of that and to speak, which I'm just honored to do that. Tell me a little bit about that and some of the guys that are listening. That I'm telling you, if you want an opportunity to get away from your wife and kids for a weekend, you got to fly here. This would be the perfect opportunity to do that. Talk about that a little bit.
The Roy Hall Jr. Leadership Conference. Our keynote speaker is Ohio State head football coach Ryan Day. You mentioned yourself, Brandon, and so here's the thing though. This is a big deal to have you come in and be on the stage to share your wealth of knowledge and wisdom on health, leadership, and what it means to be strong, like in 2022, as a man and as a woman. And so at the end of the day, you know, you're going to be able to speak to these people, and we have conversations, but now everybody's going to be privy to and have kind of that behind the curtains look at what goes on inside that crazy mind of yours in a good way. But I'm super excited about it. The executive chairwoman of the board for Donato's Pizza, Jane Grody-Abel, will be in the building as well. Former Ohio State football player Antonio Smith and Nate Sally, who is the Audible coach down in North Carolina. He lives down there now, former NFL player as well. We got a plethora, so to speak, a diverse group individuals coming in. And I can't forget my man, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Buchanan, who's a senior lecturer for The Ohio State University. 15 years in the military, decided he wanted to use his knowledge and wisdom to give back and to serve the young people in class and college students. And so he's coming in with his leadership expertise. So it's going to be a great time. Go to RoyHallJrLeadership.com for those tickets. They're going fast. It's right here in Columbus, Ohio.
That's good. 514 Church, right?
514, absolutely.
That's awesome. Hey, let's get into it. One question I did not ask, or I did not write down, but I want to ask it. You got a T-shirt that says "My Community, My Responsibility," and I saw that, and I've never seen you wear it, and you're kind of the master of T-shirt design. When I saw "My Community, My Responsibility," especially as a man, and really why it is that I started this company, empowering men to live, lead, and love strong. Yes. Some people would say, well, I don't know if I want that responsibility. Like, when you say "My community, my responsibility," I always tell patients, I'm not responsible for your health, but I am responsible for giving you everything that I can to help lead you down that path, so you can make the best decision. Explain why it is that you put a stake in the ground and said, this is my community, so therefore what is your responsibility?
And so whenever you see, that's a great question. I have to get you one of those shirts now, right? But the way that it works is we see problems all around us, and immediately, if it's not impacting us personally or our family, it's not my job to fix it. And so getting exposed to a problem is an opportunity for you to leverage your resources, platform, expertise, experiences to offer some part of the solution. You don't have to shut the whole problem down, but if you see somebody, for example, just a quick example of something that we see often, there's a gentleman on the end of the intersection or at the exit of a freeway, and you see him holding a sign and may say veteran, whatever the sign says, they took time to figure out what they want to write. Now, you could talk about panhandlers and if they're really real, if they're not, but that is a problem. Even if the problem is somebody is willing to stand on the corner and be there for 15 hours straight or whatever it may be and argue with another person on the opposite corner on whose corner it is. My job in that moment, even if I don't give them money, is to stop, see them, hand them something, give them something, give them some words of wisdom. Hey, this is temporary for you, man. Like this is going to change for you soon. Hey, if you stand in here in an hour, I'll bring you back some food. Tell me what you need. It's your responsibility to be a part of the solution no matter what it is. If you see it, now all of a sudden you've witnessed it. Now you have to take what you have and say, you know what, let me try and be a part of the solution. And again, it's not your business, but it is your responsibility to be a part of the solution.
Yeah, well, I tell my team that a lot. I said, listen, we put our stake in the ground when it comes to the authority
Yes.
and as health in our community. So we in my house I've got this map, and I've kind of put a stake there and said this is going to be my community, and so therefore I'm going to put forth the effort and the responsibility to give people what true health is, and biblically, health-wise, physiologically, whatever. We have to do everything that we possibly can to give them the roadmap in order to be able to do that. But at the end of the day, I can't make somebody be healthy. I can't make that guy on the end of the street, go take that money and go buy a suit versus cigarettes. But at the same time, we have to, if we see that and it's a problem and it like kind of tugs at our heartstrings, it does become our responsibility because that's a part of our community.
Let me say it this way: if we see something that's not God, and we can identify where that negative energy or where that darkness is coming from, it's our responsibility to be the light.
Oh, sure.
Okay, that's where we come in. I'm supposed to dominate. Like if I'm seeing something, Adam had the task of naming everything. If I see something, and based on what I'm seeing, that thing is not operating the way that God named that thing to be, it's my job to come in and fix it, right? One way or another, even if it's for 24 hours, it's my job to do something about it. So if hunger is a problem in my community, how can I be a part of it? If leadership and mentorship in the schools is a problem or lack thereof, how can I be a solution? If kids don't have backpacks or nice sneakers for their traveling basketball team because mom can't afford it, how can I be a part of it? How can I go to all of my network of people that talk about so many things in life, basketball games, football games, country clubs, what they drive, how much money they make, 401ks. How come I can't have that same conversation with those people and say to them, hey, I know some people that need help. Let's take that conversation and that energy and try and fix these problems.
What I love about that is you hear in Roy's tone the passion that he has, but really what you hear is the essence of leadership, which is one of the pillars that we have, is to live, lead, and love strong. And the essence of leadership is serving. And when you're talking about attending those things, putting that stake in the ground, my community, my responsibility, he's talking about serving.
Yes.
Like it may be for an hour, it may be for a week, it may be for a month, but he's talking about serving.
Yes.
And then, our words and our deeds have impact, but our attitude might have the greatest impact. Anybody who's listened to the first 10 minutes of this can hear the passion coming through in Roy's voice, and it's pretty contagious, that kind of passion, and you know that there's an authenticity to what he's doing and what his mission is from the passion that radiates off his tone.
It's good. It's good. Let's switch gears a little bit. I want to, I ask, I think it's easy to say this. I had a buddy of mine, he's a chiropractor out in Arizona, and he has lost his father. And I can't tell you exactly how he lost his dad, but I think it was a heart attack or preventable, illness. And he asked me this the other day, and I've been asking, strong men in my inner circle this question. He said, Dr. B, he goes, my dad, and I think any dad, myself, I would be willing to die for my kids. I would give up my life for my wife. I mean, I would, and I think it'd be easy for us to say that as a man.
Yes.
He goes, my dad died of a heart attack or something early, and he used to tell me that he loved me all the time. And even though I know he would die for me, did he really love me by the way that he lived? And so what I want to ask you is that, do you feel like, obviously it's easier to say I'm going to die for this, I'm going to die for that, but I think it's the every single day in and out of living that out that's way harder. What are your thoughts on that?
That's an awesome question, and
hard question. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not so much hard, but it puts you in a position to rethink how you use cliches and these idioms. Oh, I'll die for you. I'll give up my life for you. I'll give it all up for you.
Or I love you.
Or I love you. They all in the same boat. But to live for someone and to live a certain life that the people around you or that you influence would be proud of or that they would want to mimic is so much harder than just throwing out, I would die for you, because it really gives you an excuse, right? I'm working 10 hours a day. I'm providing for you. I'm doing all these different things. You know, I can't eat right because I'm hustling and bustling. I'm trying to do all this stuff for you. It's for you. It's for you, when it's really not for that person. In your mind, it is.
Yeah.
Like, I need to take care of them. I need to pay for your college. But that person, to your point, just wants you. When I talk to young people, they just want their parents, right? I just want you. When you talk to people who have marriages that are broken, they just wanted the person. They didn't care about what the person was bringing to the table, right? They just wanted the person. And so to be able to live a life that makes the people that you're trying to influence or raise or grow or to develop, that's so much harder, because now we talk about responsibility. Now you have to make sure that every aspect of your life is tightened up, because everybody's watching. There's always a audience watching. And so it's interesting to hear you say that. I think that one of the things that, like, we can talk about, you know, we just came off of, you know, Resurrection Weekend and Easter Sunday. You know, we can talk about what was more powerful, Jesus dying or him raising and living, right? The coming back part is the part that got everybody fired up. Like, we were sad on the dying part, but the living part and coming back and giving me another 40 days of what I need to do to go forward and showing me that I can go down and come back up. Now that's the powerful part. Like, show me how to live my life versus showing me what to do that makes my life go away. So I think the living part is so much harder, but that's the part that makes you the leader. That's the part that shows your strength, not the I'm just doing everything that everybody else is doing. I'm intentional about the way I live my life, because it's conscious to me on how it's going to impact you.
The other day I came home, and it was a long week, and I sat in my car for about 5 minutes before I go in the house, just to leave it out, you know, before I go in. And I know my kids are going to attack me. They're like UFC fighters that attack me.
You trained them.
Yeah, I know. I mean, so I had it all coming to me. But I go in the house and I'm just emotional, because I want to help people, you know, and just I want to serve people.
Yeah.
And I'm up here, and my kid just keeps tugging on me. I'm like, what? Can you play Legos with me? And I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't even care. Like,
Right.
I think when I talk to guys that are, you know, multi-millionaires and running big companies and big practices and whatever, and I said, you know, it's great, but every time I ask my son, hey, what do you want to do? He goes, can we jump on the trampoline?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can we go downstairs and can we practice jiu-jitsu moves?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even know or care what I have in my bank account.
Mm-mm.
And I think I think that's the thing that we miss, is that we're, you know, I love you so much, or I would die for you, or I would sacrifice my life so I can go work 9 to 5, but really it's the living piece that we miss.
Yeah.
And we wonder why it is that maybe our kids are carrying that into their marriages, and they're carrying that into their kids, and that generational curse of work instead of living that out.
Yeah.
Is a problem.
Yeah, I was. I had an opportunity to speak to a group of parents on pretty much this same issue, and they were like, "How do I keep my kids motivated? They're not motivated. You know, I'm working hard. I'm hard working. I went to college. I did all these things. They're not following what I'm asking them to do. They're not following my blueprint." And what I told them, I said, "Your child is not a blank canvas for you to create who you wanted to be but didn't become, right? Your child is not a blank canvas for you to create who you wanted to be but didn't become." And so now what we've done, a part of our work ethic and us working hard and sacrificing, we are training our kids to become us, or to get something out of them that we didn't have when kids have their own dreams. They have their own dreams. They have the things that they want to do. Bruce, we talked before we even got on air, like, you got your 3 daughters, like, they got 3 different personalities, 3 different things they want to do. But if you said, you need to come in the studio with me, you need podcasts, we're moving to podcasts right now, you need to advertise it, all of a sudden you would drive them, you know what I mean? And you're like, I'm sacrificing for you, I'm doing this. Like, no, in order to live for them, you have to know what they love and do what they love. And that part is about living.
That's good.
It is. And the other thing, I'll give credit to my wife. Today's our anniversary. And
come on.
You're blessed when you have a wise wife. And sometimes that wisdom cuts like a
there
knife.
You go.
And I was weighing a couple different opportunities and talking about things that are weighing me down, and we got to fix this and we got to fix that. And I'm like, I feel distant from the girls. Why is that? Like, and she just said, all they want whether it's this job, that job, doesn't matter. All they want is they want to see you in a good mood.
Wow.
That's all they want. Like their whole life order is based off of, it emanates from, are you in a good mood? Are you in a bad mood? Are you up? Are you down? Are you concerned? Are you content? So that really like leveled me. And
Yeah.
it gets back to what kind of tone am I setting when I'm worried about these things that quote unquote matter,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think about how that's emanating out from me and what kind of a vibe that's sending out through my house.
No, that's awesome, man.
My wife always humbles me in that way. She goes, "Yeah, I could live in a cardboard box. It doesn't even matter. I just want you to be happy. Like I just
Yeah.
want you to come home and just have fun." You know, she goes, "It doesn't matter. You know, like there's always gonna be another mountain.
Yeah.
You know." And I was like, "Mountains aren't bad as long as you can't find joy in the climb."
There you go.
You know what I mean? Because
There you
mountains
go.
are great, but if you can't find joy in that process and you can't come back and say, "Whew, all right, time to turn it off, and time
Mhm.
to play catch,"
Mhm.
it's huge. Roy, we talked about this. You're doing some really cool stuff in the community. You know, every couple Saturdays or whatever a month, you're getting some guys together in a weight room, and
Yep.
we talked about, I think, how it's a physiological thing, and I can kind of go through brain neurology and the physiology behind why exertion and oxygen into the brain and tissue can affect your emotional state.
I'm glad you can do that.
Yeah. But you don't
Because
get to do that. That's
right,
why
yeah,
I'm
that's why
here.
you're here.
So
Yeah, there you go.
we speak together. I'll give the physiology behind the motivation. So, but it's cool because we're getting guys that get in the weight room, throwing stuff around, and it's kind of it can humble somebody to kind of be broken in a physical way. We talked about just suicide and mental illness in our community, and just it's a huge deal right now. This company was started because 2 years ago on my youngest son's birthday, my best friend in chiropractic school killed himself. So Mark was a chiropractor. Him and his wife Lindsay helped lead me to the Lord. They were like he was actually in that prayer. Like when I raised my hand and committed to, he was one of those guys.
Nice.
So when I got that call, it crushed me because Mark was an alcoholic, and he was always trying to climb the mountain, playing the comparison game, not where he shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda been. And I think we talked about, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that more and more kids are struggling today than ever before? And I said comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, oh, that's interesting. I said, I believe comfort will kill you if you're not careful. And I think I used, I grew up in a trailer in the middle of the woods with rats the size of Volkswagens, and I just, we on welfare, and I didn't have that kind of stuff like
Sure.
my kids do. I look at like that comfort being almost like a little bit of a disadvantage, because if you don't have to struggle in your life, struggle produces endurance. But if kids don't have to struggle and go through that, the moment they get into a situation where it's uncomfortable, they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. We have, because of how we were raised and because of some of the challenges that we went through, again, we want to prevent our kids from going through all that because we know how it felt. Like, it was awful. It was terrible. I don't want my kids to see rats the size of Volkswagens. I don't want to be on welfare. I'm going to do everything in my power. It's a vicious cycle, right? It goes back to the question before. Now, as a dad, I'm working. I'm tough all day. I can't fail. I got to, because I know what it feels like. And because of that, I'm justifying those actions because I'm taking care and protecting my family. When I'm hurting them long term, because they're not exposed to anything.
Yeah.
I've completely developed this like comfort country that my kids live in and reside in, and they just want to stay there. And when they try and get out on their own, I pull them right back in, right? My attitude, my anger comes, and I force them back into that situation. And then when I'm not around, absolutely, they have an option now. And now they don't know how to protect themselves. They don't know how to defend themselves. They're not strong enough to do it. I think value comes into play. What is the value of your life? And if value has been placed on material things in the household, or a certain dollar amount, or value of my life is put on how many hours I work. If I'm 15 or 16 and I don't have a job, I don't have money, I don't have status, I don't have a car, I don't have anything. When I get to school and somebody says something about me, they literally mimic what's going on in my head, I don't have value. I don't have enough value for dad to be home. I don't have enough value for mom to be home. I don't have enough value to my friends to take up for me. What is the point in being here if I don't have value? The adults that go through the same thing. Now, there are multiple studies, and I'm not going to we don't have to get into all of them, but I do know for a fact that when someone has deemed that their life has no value, there's no reason to stick around.
Yeah.
And so if it's, I make this amount of money, and I have this particular degree, and I have this position in my company or in my business, and all of those things sound good, but on the back end, I still don't know the value of my life or feel like I matter, then what's the point in doing all of this? And that's kind of where we get, where it was uncomfortable growing up, and then they got some things that they thought would fulfill them and change it, and it didn't. So again, value obviously has to be found in your relationship with the Lord 1,000%. You have to know who you are in Christ. You have to know what that faith means. You have to know and be embedded inside of that spirit, knowing that no matter what I get or no matter where I go, he comes first in my life.
Which comes from mom and dad.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's good. You're a high intensity guy, right? I mean, motivator, driven guy. I mean, obviously, if you guys are listening, you can tell the passion in Roy's voice. And I'm a passionate guy, and I know the work that it takes to pull off what it is that I'm trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you put a lot of work in.
Yes, sir.
Faith without works is dead. So hey, I'm just going to be successful, but I'm just going to wait for everything else. But I think health is the physical health of the body for a lot of men and for a lot of people is just something that I'll do only whenever something bad happens. Like it's like something really, really bad has to happen for me to like pull it together.
Sure.
Talk about why health is important to you in order for you to accomplish what it is that you have to accomplish.
Yeah, if you're from an athletic standpoint, at Ohio State, you're eating 4 or 5 meals a day, and now all of a sudden everything is catered to you. They cook everything and prep everything, whatever ingredients you want, you can control everything now. But you eat a certain way, you have to hydrate, your weight matters based on the position. Right, all these different things matter. You're getting adjusted, you're getting massages, all these to make sure that you are in tip-top shape to go out and do your job. When you learn the value and the importance of your body and health from that standpoint. Now, you don't know the inner workings because you just don't know what you don't know. You're training yourself to be a football player. You're not training yourself to be in life, but the discipline's created. And so when I was in high school, I trained different. Right, I was eating ho-hos and I mean I still like sweets. I mean, straight up. But I mean I would play in a basketball game and my mom would go to Giant Eagle, spend $1. Back in the day it was $1 for a box of honey buns, $1 for a box of ho-hos, and I would just eat all of it. Like I just loved and a Big Mac from McDonald's with a large they used to have supersized raspberry iced tea, a double fish fillet. I would smash all of that. And then I got to college, I was like, man, you can't be eating that stuff like that. It was a little bit more information. And then when I got done playing, then my body started breaking down a little bit. And that's how I met Brandon, right? Like, hey, so you can't do what you used to do and you got to take care of yourself. It's information. And a lot of times men don't have the information. And when they get the information, it's hard to break those habits. Yeah. But to go back into what it took for you to be an elite athlete, I had that blessing to be able to say, okay, I'm going to have to change some things gradually. Or some people can just go cold turkey, but I'm a gradual guy. Like I'm a and then, you'll say, hey man, you'll just suggest things in a very, very kind, stern, frank way. All right. And you just start to change over the course of time. The information helps, but you need people out in front like yourself to be able to say, these are the things that we should be doing so that we can live and be strong for our kids and the people that we love long term. I
would actually say that, physical health has a drastic impact on your spiritual, your emotional response. From a neurological standpoint, a kid that would live off of sugar and pop and pizza is not going to respond in the way. Now, I mean, obviously there's other factors that play into that, but from a work productivity, I even looked at your website and some of the things that you'll go into big companies and talk about. I mean, billions and billions of dollars are spent on employees not showing up to work and being sick and
Right.
just all these different things that aren't happening. And my goodness, like if I'm going to invest my money into something that's going to be productive for a company, it would be invest into the physical health. Like what are these?
Right.
I remember, as I used to just kind of drive through here during lunch break, and then big corporations right next door, and it would almost be like rats would come out of the buildings, and they'd be going to all these fast food restaurants. Or if I'm like driving home, it's like Cane's has got this massive line, and I actually
It's the sauce, man.
is it the sauce?
It's not even the chicken.
But I actually, what I do is I visualize that in the morning. Like when I wake up, I actually visualize my office is like the Cane's chicken line.
There you go.
People are waiting outside my clinic all the way to Donato's Pizzas to wait to get adjusted.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, like, what are they putting in the sauce? And I think it's just, certainty. And people don't know what they don't know. People perish for a lack of knowledge, not because they don't want to be healthy, but they just don't know what
They just
health
don't know.
is.
Right.
So.
No, that's awesome. But the sauce definitely does carry that restaurant. I don't know. Forget the fries. Forget the crinkle fries. It's the salt, whatever that is. Like whatever the thing is, man. Anyway.
It's good. So our thing is living, leading, and loving strong. Tell me when you read that, empowering a man who lives, leads, and loves strong. Like what do you think of? What do you think of when you hear that?
I guess you have to define what the word strong is, right? And it can't be what you saw or what you thought it was growing up. A strong man comes in various forms. Like if Jesus was considered strong not because he was walking around lifting weights. It could be a strong man to forgive. Like what does it take to be strong enough to forgive yourself for not being the very best that you could be? And how strong do you have to be to forgive others who God has called you to love? What does it mean, like if we're defining what strength is, to say I'm sorry, to have the courage? There's three phrases that I believe have the most power. three phrases. Number one, I love you, right? One way or another, you tell somebody you love them, and you like that word, that love, like real agape, unconditional. I have you, like I love you, man, like powerful. Number two, I will be the best. I will get this done. I will change my health. I will live a different lifestyle. I will be there for my kids. I will start my own business. I will have time for my wife and I will. I'm making a decision to do this. I'm doing this. Like it's something about making that in your mind. I don't know, neurological, physiological connection, but as soon as I say I'm gonna do something and I really believe it, I believe there's nothing that can stop you. Yeah. The weather, with the temperature of the country, political debates, religion, it doesn't matter. If I say I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Yeah. And the other one is I'm sorry. Hey man, I apologize. I messed up. It'll never happen again. Or if it does, it was on purpose. I'm gonna do my best to make sure that we get through this and I never put you in a position again to where you have to forgive me for something that I did. What type of strength is that to live and lead in that fashion where, hey, I apologize. Hey, you know what? I will help you. What type of strength does it take to assist somebody to give the very best of you to someone else so that they can get to where they need to be or become the very best version of yourself? If you're leading a company or leading a family or leading anywhere, what does it mean for you to offer up all your expertise and knowledge, Bruce Brandon? What does it mean to give that and assist someone else, even if it jeopardizes or puts your position in jeopardy because they might surpass you? Yeah. Are you willing to be strong enough to help the people around you go further than you have gone, right? Again, what does it mean to be strong? All of these things that we don't talk about, it's not even in the physical. It's not, hey, I went through this. Now, some of those things happen. You got some very strong people mentally and physically that have overcome cancer, beat cancer, heart disease, and they fought through it and they were strong enough to get through it. But on the back end, can you forgive people? Yeah. Right? Can you spend time with your family? Are you strong enough to turn it off before you walk through the door so that you can play Legos and not snap? Right? Like, how strong am I really? Because really, I'm not fighting against the person, I'm fighting against the forces. Right? That force of darkness that wants me to snap at my son or snap at my daughter, or that wants me to dive into my works or my study. Even if I'm studying the word of God, like if I'm studying for 15 hours straight or 5 hours straight and my son's pulling on me to come even play Madden, I should be able to be strong enough to give up the word to go play Madden, to have some conversation with him during Madden about the stuff that I was just learning in my studies. Are you strong enough to make the right decisions? I get back to what you said, to live for the people that you love.
That's good.
What I hear coming through in that is commitment. Like when he talks about being strong, he's talking about being committed. If you tell somebody you love them, you've made a commitment to them.
Come on.
If you have the humility to apologize to someone, that's a deep commitment that you've made. You know, so I hear commitment through that word strong and everything that Roy just talked about.
Man, you're like the voice from above. Like, let me just break down what he just said.
He's like, what's Bruce Almighty? Who's the guy? Denzel Washington.
Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey, yeah, it was Jim. Oh,
But it's Denzel's God.
oh yeah, Denzel. Yeah, there you
Morgan
go.
Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. Morgan
You got
Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, man. Like, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna just jump in here. Let me tell you what he said in the last 2 minutes. He said commitment. You're right. I should have said that. That's good, man. That's what experience does.
Yeah, that's why you're point
That's a
guard.
nice way of saying old.
That's why you're the point guard, Bruce. Hey, Roy, I appreciate you being on, man.
Yes, sir.
It's, you know, our relationship has grown over the last couple of years. I mean, as a patient in and out, but I just when I have somebody on the show, I don't have somebody on the show because they live one of these things really well, but somebody on the show that I really truly believe is living, leading, and loving in a way that is not conforming to the ways of the world, but is really trying to like leave a mark and leave an impact. And so I know you got a million different things that you could be doing, and so I just appreciate you being on here. This is going to help change millions of men and young men's lives. So I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you, Bruce. Awesome job being a point guard, right?
Well, thank
And then, you know, Doc, man, I appreciate you allowing me to be on. It's always an honor and a privilege. What you guys are doing here is definitely impacting lives, and you know, I just encourage all the people listening to share it. You know, if you take something from this podcast or this show, you know what I mean, whether it's this one or the next one or the one before, share it with the people around you. It's your community that you're in. It's your responsibility to get them the information that we're presenting.
And if you've been impacted by what Roy said today, and I can't imagine you haven't been, be a part of the Leadership Conference May the 17th, 8:30 to 4:30. Book your own spot or for your team at RoyHallLeadership.com, RoyHallLeadership.com.
I think it's Roy Hall Jr.
Roy Hall Jr.
Leadership.com.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And then also, those of you who are out there, if you haven't done so already, go to ProjectIronWarrior.com, subscribe. You're going to get weekly email content. You're going to get workouts. You're going to get, you know, recipes. We've got, you know, faith coaches. We've got fitness coaches from all around the country. They're going to be pouring into you each and every week. And then more podcasts. Like Roy said, share this. You know, somebody that you love and care about, somebody who needs to be sharpened. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. So also Instagram, Roy_Hall, Facebook, Roy Hall Jr., Twitter @Roy_Hall, RoyHallJr.com, the Driven Foundation. If you're out there and you're a teacher or you've got an organization that you just need someone to light a fire under their butt.
Man, get this guy in your organization. Let this guy in front of your people, and you want to light him on fire. Roy Hall will get it done.
It's good stuff. We really appreciate you guys. Have a healthy, happy, blessed day. Great. JD is here.
Awesome, brother.